No! No! No!
Extravaganza.
Hello, and welcome back to the Horror Pop Extravaganza, where we take a little of the macabre, a little bit of the mindful, and we sprinkle them up into what's hopefully a delicious meal by the time you're done. You leave the podcast and you're like, I feel full. I feel good. I feel full of movie knowledge and mindfulness, because that's what we do. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am the ghost host with the most, Pops Ghostly, and with me, as always, is
Lil Duke Spooky.
the beautiful Lil Duke Spooky. Lil Duke. I like that, Lil Duke. That's like a rap name right there, like a modern rapper. I feel like there's little everybody's, but Lil Duke, I like that. Lil Duke, you and I share a love for creature feature cinema, but not just creature feature, specifically one kind of creature feature cinema, and that is shark cinema. There is the granddaddy of them all. There is the one that everybody knows, and I want to talk a little bit about Jaws as well once we get into this one, because I was trying to figure out, what really sets these apart. And I see them as two completely different things, but almost both 5 out of 5s. And I'm going to try and argue the Reef for close to a 5 out of 5. And there it is, the Reef. Oh, you know what? We announce it and shit. We don't even have to fucking act like we always surprise, unless you just maybe didn't know last week, if it is your first time. So those are the people who would be surprised, but we do try to give the movie that's coming next week at the end of every episode. So the Reef from 2010, and we live in a world now that is, we're post Sharknado. So we have shit out there that's just megalo shark versus octocorachodon and like all these different super terrible CGI across the board. It's its own thing. It is the like 2 o'clock in the morning, Tijuana, Mexico street cart food vendor of shark movies is what a lot of the shit we see now. Sci-fi ran with it a long time. Not even just sharks. There were fucking crocodiles, snakes, dinosaurs. They were bringing in dinosaurs to fight sharks for a little bit. And the shark tornadoes went on for like 6 movies. And they were fun. I've watched all fucking 6 of those shark tornadoes, and I knew exactly however many there were. They were in space and shit, flying around with sharks. But the shark genre really did start with Jaws. That was the one that kicked it all off. Peter Benchley has since said, like, I fucked up. Like, this was, the way it came out and the way we treated sharks. Everybody went out there and started maliciously murdering sharks, which is not good. Because in reality, sharks are not a super aggressive, animal for the most part. They are an apex predator. The big ones, they are an apex predator. So if they do take a flavor bite or a taste test, that's usually a whole limb, because they don't want us. We're not fatty enough. That's why they eat seals and shit like that. They want all the fat. But as a former sailor, I can tell you that there is not many things that have scared me like the ocean in the middle of the night in the dark. When it's black, no moon. In the movies, they always give us a moon because we wouldn't be able to see shit. Oh, actually, in open water, though, I think we did get a lightning storm and open water is another really good one, too. Oh, ugh. Um, but when you're out there and it's just silent, the silence of the ocean, just rhythmic, as long as you're not in a storm. But right below you is a world that we understand less than I think we understand space.
Yeah.
Scary.
And you had to think about that when you were out there on that boat. Like
Yeah.
story has to be playing through your head a little bit.
Oh, 100%. The Indianapolis, scary. The Reef, I did do some reading today because you always see the based on a fucking true event, da da da. And I'm like, okay, how much is this? This is pretty close. It
Right.
was a tiger shark, apparently, not a white shark, but white sharks are always going to be fucking cooler because they're humongous. They're, the great is in the name. That's
They
cool.
just look evil, dude. They have these like there's something about the way their face is shaped that's scarier than other sharks.
Doll's eyes, Chiefy. I see, and I don't see them as evil. I really like sharks. They're one of my favorite animals, or I shouldn't say favorite, but an animal I've always really enjoyed. I want to see them in a cage. Like I want to go down there and have the white sharks around off the coast of South Africa or Australia. But in the real event, from what I read, it was a tiger shark. These people capsized was a similar thing, but it was a tiger shark that stalked them and took out two of them before they got to wherever land was. It was a couple that had been both gone. The shark got two people, and then the one guy made it back. And it's the Indianapolis. I can't even fucking imagine, dude.
How scary, dude. You're injured, you're covered in oil, you're
There's
starving, you're
fire. There's
thirsty.
yeah.
Yeah, dude. And you're just in the fucking ocean and there's just stuff moving around your feet.
A feeding frenzy. They said it turned into a feeding frenzy, and that these people, what was the line? Something like 1,100 men went in the water, Chiefy. 300 came out. Sharks got the rest. That's
Yeah,
fucked.
it's a
Yeah,
lot of
it's very, very sorry. I'm just adjusting my camera here for a second. Yes, it is very scary. The idea of, and not just sharks, but really anything touching your foot. You know, we did swim
yeah.
call out there where you had the opportunity. They would stop the boat in the middle of the ocean. If you wanted to jump out and go swimming, you jumped out and you went swimming. And so I did. I was like, I really want to swim in the big ocean. There was jellyfish and shit all over the place. But they did have a guy with a rifle up on the bridge wing on Shark Watch, and we had some divers out there, looking around and stuff and Shark Watch. But the neat thing was that far out, you could just open your eyes under the water. It wasn't that salty. And I guess that's because the salt, on a shoreline gets just pushed over and over and recycled. It becomes really dense, but out there it's diluted enough. And I do remember just opening my eyes under the water and looking, and there's always that
Yeah,
wall where vision ends, and it's the same thing down, and it's
yeah,
the same thing behind you, and you feel very vulnerable in a very big ocean. That's just, yeah, you're like, I'm a little thing.
yeah. That's one of the scariest things I've ever done. I snorkeled in Mexico and we were where the drop off happened, where it went
Oh
from like the
yeah.
shelf to like 3,000 feet. And just seeing the different color blue go from darker to darker to black. And I just pictured fucking teeth coming out of there, dude. I couldn't help it to the point where, in order for me to stay in the water, I had to face the shore. I had to face the sandy outcropping that I could see
So you
myself
couldn't,
climbing out
right,
of.
right, right. And so
But I
that,
was like, but I'm joking. I'm fooling myself because if a shark wanted me, I'm fucking shark bait,
and
dude. Like,
that's the thing though, most of the time sharks don't want you.
no.
People, sharks don't want you. They don't
Right.
want to eat you. But that fear is very real. I see people, with arachnophobia, like genuine arachnophobia, and it's like a dime-sized spider. And that fucker is so freaked out. That spider doesn't know what's going on. Yeah, he's like, what the fuck? These people are crazy. Um, the sharks don't want to come and get us. There are aggressive, animals out there that I think will just, but also if I'm in the woods, I've spent a lot of my life in the woods. I've spent a lot of my life in the woods all over the United States. Some places in the jungle, the deep jungle in like Panama. Like when we were in the little canoes, there was just crocodiles on the shore. Yep. Just fucking National Geographic. They're like, oh yeah, there's fucking monkeys, tigers, all these killer insects and shit like that. A lot of it's about respect.
Right.
You're in the woods and you see a bear, you fucking don't, keep fucking around. Or if you know there's a place where a bunch of bears regularly hang out, and it's the time that the bears like to eat. Don't go hang out in a place, especially, on a board that makes you look like a bear or a seal in this instance. But when we play with nature like that, there's always that chance. But sharks, no, they don't really want to fucking.
I think the fear though is like a bear. You see a bear coming through the trees. You hear a bear coming. Sharks just come up from underneath, dude, and all of a sudden you're missing a leg. And then you're for me, the scariest thing is the idea of sitting there in pain, not being able to swim because your leg is missing, seeing all the blood around you, and being like, that fucker's around here somewhere.
and it's probably going to come back for the blood.
Gonna come back for more.
But again, a lot of times they'll bite and then just leave. There's a ton of shark survivors in the world. We see, or shark attack survivors. We see them all over the place. Where I remember the guy on Shark Week that got his fucking calf bit off by that bull shark. And he's like, I'm just trying to prove how good bull sharks are. So fucking cool. This one's Larry. That's Mo Curly. And then all of a sudden, the underwater camera caught it too. Just little sideways snip, whole calf muscle just gone. But
Um,
the bull shark didn't come back. They all didn't start fucking eating him all over the place. They carried him out of the water, and he was okay. I think you're much more likely to get attacked by, a big cat, especially in the Northwest as we continue to move out into those mountainy areas where you have these things. I remember living out in Oregon and Washington that way, and they're like, oh, yeah, there's a report of a fucking cougar in somebody's backyard. I'm like, that's scary. And you hear the stories about people, running on the trail and just doing my Fitbit, and then all of a sudden, and you're tore up. Nature can be scary. We play with it that way, and it's going to come back and bite us sometimes. But I think sharks, more than almost any other animal, get a bad name for it, and it is that fear. It is that fear of the unknown and not being able to see. And the fact that these fuckers can move at like 40 miles an hour when they want to for a quick sprint. And whites come up from the bottom, I think, for the most part, because they can't really get the mouth, it doesn't open on the front like that. The snout's too big. And so they're gonna hit you like a Peterbilt truck full of razor blades at 40 miles an hour and clamp down on you. But let's get to this movie a little bit. We've been talking a lot about sharks. So the Reef drops in 2010. I want to say I saw it real quick after it came out. I don't know if I saw it in the theater because it was an Australian release. I don't even know if it got a big US distribution or not. But I know whenever I see a shark movie, I'm like, I'm watching that. Every single one of them. It doesn't matter. The good, the bad, the ugly. Trailer Park Shark. Like, I think I've watched that twice.
Maybe more than any other genre, the shark genre goes from pure gold to absolute dog shit.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's different levels in between.
And so while I was thinking about this one, I'm like, okay, why is Jaws a fucking five? And I was sitting there and like Jaws is a five for a lot of reasons. But I was like, what separates it from this? I was like, how because this for me, like everything was hitting.
Mhm.
No CGI sharks. All the shark footage is real. The tension is insane if you let yourself get lost in this movie. He drags this and just twists it slowly tighter and tighter that just gets under your skin. The acting, great. You know what I mean? Pretty much solid across the board. A couple little lines maybe here and there, but and what it is though is that Jaws was a novel with it was what happens to the people around a shark attack. Whereas this was what does it feel like to be lost in one?
Right.
And yeah, I think this is more effective than Open Water. Open Water is really cool. Found footage was booming in '03, and it's a fun movie, but I don't think you have the same connection and you don't get the sharks to see the sharks in there because in Open Water we might get some dorsals and things like that splashing, but to see the actual whites and we'll get to some of the details, but again, the way it's shot is just it's fucking awesome, man. So why don't you give us the IMDb on 2010's The Reef? Who's in it? And you can list all the actors if you don't mind, just because they all fucking showed up and there's only like five. So it shouldn't take very long.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. If you're listening to this on the 4th of July, happy Water Safety Day. Like let's go out there and be safe. Let's be respectful.
And even more like in Michigan, we don't have sharks, but we got so many people blow their fucking fingers off with firecrackers and shit. So watch your phalanges. Don't wake up in the next couple days and be like, ah.
All right. This was written and directed by Andrew Trocchi. And we should just do a shout out for fucking Australian horror, dude. They
Yeah.
just get it right.
I was just thinking that shit too when I was thinking about this movie. I was like, usually when I see Australia, even back to that, what was that Jamie Lee Curtis, Stacy Keach thing that they did? But for a long time, there was Wolf Creek that fucked me up. That I feel like put me a little more onto Australian horror. And then I started digging a little more. And then there was that shit about the serial killer, Snowtown murders, maybe,
Mhm,
where they were
mhm.
keeping the people in the fucking barrels and all this stuff.
Yeah, man.
Then you've got Wormwood, one of the greatest zombie flicks, modern zombie flicks ever made. And I'm like, Australia really does show up. And I was like, I wonder why that is. I was like, because they live in fucking constant fear of the world killing them. Like they
Right.
live in the Thunderdome all the time. I
Yeah.
remember seeing Steve Irwin find one of the deadliest snakes in the fucking world, mate, in the hood of his car. He was like, he went to go do it and it was resting. Like it had gotten cold the night before. So he gets this monster out of his. And I'm sure Australia is not that scary, but I think the whole world looks at it and it really is, a bunch of English prisoners sent to a prison planet full of everything wants to kill you from the insects all the way up to the big stuff. So they're like, oh, we'll show you badass, motherfucker. Like, you want to see badass? Wormwood, badass. All
Yeah.
of it, Wolf Creek, ugh, badass. But really, I that one shocked me a little bit. I was like, out of nowhere, like, fuck, this got really real.
Yeah, for sure. All the Wolf Creeks were insane, and they're doing
Yeah.
another one.
Well, did you watch the series?
I
Because
watched the first season of the
yeah,
series. And that
yeah.
was really good too, but it's almost like too much.
I don't know if there was it. Was there a second season to it though?
Yeah, there was a
Okay,
second
I think
season,
I
but
watched all of it and I was waiting for more to come out.
yeah, that second season was hard to get. I had to like pirate part of it, I think,
I
to
think it was
even
on
see it.
Shudder for a little bit or something, but it might not be
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah, it might have got pulled. Either way, continue with the IMDb.
Yes, yes. All right. So our main guy in this is Luke, and it's Damian Walsh Howler.
Okay.
Guyton Grantley played Matt. Adrienne Pickering, who I've seen before, she played Susie.
She's our main protagonist.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I
Zoe
know I've seen
Naylor.
her before as
What's
well.
that?
I said I know I've seen her before as well, the lead actress.
Zoe Naylor played Kate, and Kieran Darcy Smith played Warren.
And
Get ready
Warren,
to hear one of the best
yeah.
DB descriptions that
Yeah.
I've ever read. All right, here we go.
Okay.
A great white shark hunts the crew of a capsized sailboat along the Great Barrier Reef.
Perfect.
Period.
Fucking perfect. And that is this movie in a nutshell because we go from opening to on the boat within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And everything is on the boat. And I read a little bit on this guy, the director and the writer and stuff like that. And he had said somewhere that, you know, we have all these stories, like we have all the shark attack stories, but nobody's ever really made a good shark attack movie from Australia. They're like, fucking America did it, a couple times and was able to do some stuff, but we need to tell our story. And so I feel like for him, this might have been that. Like, just let's get in the water. You can shoot relatively cheap. If you have a boat, all you have to make sure is the ship behind you is blue. You
Yeah.
could be 10 feet off the shore.
Right.
And as long as it's all ocean behind you, oh, we're fucking lost.
Although you're constantly moving, and if your camera's constantly moving, you're going to make your
Yes.
audience sick. And they
Yes.
did a very good job of putting us at the water level. Because if you can see the horizon, it doesn't make you as sick. It's weird. There's science to it, you know?
Oh, I know 100%. I used to tell people they'd be up on forward lookout, these new sailors, right? We'd be on deployment and shit. And forward lookout was the fucking as high as you could get up without climbing one of the masts. And you would sit up there just with your binoculars for an hour, look around, rotate somewhere else, look around for an hour. And these kids would get sick up there and shit. And I remember being up there with him one time. He's like, oh, and looking at the horizon helps 100%. And he's like, fuck. He's like, boats, fuck, they feel good. And I'm like, just stare at the tip of the hull and watch it go up and down. I said, just watch watch the tip of the ship go. And I watched his color just
Oh,
yeah, because you watch it bob back and forth. It only takes about a minute. But you are right. They did everything about it. I thought the editing was great. You can see a little bit of the age on it now as far as where they intercut the actors with the footage of the real sharks, because again, all the real sharks were shot, they went down. I don't know if they did or somebody did. There's always people down there fucking around with sharks. You
yeah.
ever see that ocean lady? I can't remember her name. I like her though. She swims with gray whites like fucking nothing, just in a bikini.
They have a brand new documentary about her on Netflix, and
Ooh, I want to watch it.
yeah, it's really good. It's got a lot of new footage and stuff.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. And there are so many people like that in the world who have been fighting against Jaws since 1975, trying
Yeah.
to.
But in that video, other people are like, she's a shark hunter. I mean, she's a crocodile hunter waiting to happen. Like they're like, one of these days,
But
she's
you
gonna
know
get
what? You
launched.
know what though? It wasn't a crocodile that got him. It wasn't an aggressive thing. It was one of the fucking softest, floatiest like things you would never even imagine to be the one. And that's the thing is sometimes I mean people's pets all the time fucking, dogs bite family members they've known for 10 years. And they turn around and snap, snap, snap when they get old. But that lady, she might, but I bet you she'd rather go out another way because she has fully lived. You know what I mean? She's like, when she dies, she ain't gonna be looking back like, oh, I wonder what people thought about me. She's gonna be like, I'm the bad bitch who swam with great white sharks because I felt like that was the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's bad. Like that's it. That's a kind of person you want to be. Like you couldn't buy a person like that. To me,
Yeah.
that's the scariest person is someone you can't buy. Someone with that much conviction is scary. And it can be used in a good way or it can be used in a very scary way.
She's a female Quint, dude.
Right. 100%. Old eyes, GB. So we open up and there's an old love flame. And and that's the thing, Jaws was all story.
Hmm.
Whereas this is all sharks. And so we
Thought this
get,
was played really well, though. This little bit of
yeah, yeah, yeah. But we don't get, this big exposition all over the place. When
right.
people, because me and you even say like Jaws is the standard, in a lot of ways for a lot of different reasons. And I think we might just have to get rid of that statement at some point because I think it's the standard not even just for horror or for shark flicks, but kind of just for cinema in general. Like Jaws is how you tell a good fucking story that just pulls people in, get the right amount of tension, the right terror, the right things, and you've got a great white shark, which no matter who you are, if you've ever been near the ocean, most people would be like, I won't even get in the motherfucker. Never. Don't even get me within 10 feet of it. I don't want
Yeah.
to see it. Yeah. That is an easy thing, I think, to kind of play on. Whereas this, we do get the love story, but even though it's only for a couple minutes, it felt real. It felt like they have a conversation. She brought him a sausage. I can't remember what the joke with the sausage was. Like, did we do like butt plug stuff or something? But I know she brought him a sausage. And he is asking her like, "Yo, is that it?" And she's like, "I'm not sure." So it seems like they had a relationship, and there was even a conversation. Oh, you're not with anybody, and he's like, "I waited for you, dude. Like you said, you were going to, figure some stuff, but I'm here. Like I really want this thing to work." So this connection is good between these two. We have another couple who are down there with them for the adventure, and then Warren, the boat captain, and then Matt, and I can't remember Matt's girlfriend's name, but we have the boat captain as well. This is where the movie takes its biggest hit for me. That boat was not fucking stocked for a good adventure. They were going out far, dude. And I don't even think they had life jackets. They just had diving gear and like not enough snacks, water, fuck like the things you take if like, hey, we're gonna really go out on the water. Because
Right.
if you do that, I'm sure there's people in the Caribbean that are like, shut the fuck up. You don't know nothing from nothing. But they seem like they were going adventuring kind of far. And you make sure that if something goes wrong, you got at least 3 to 4 days worth of shit,
Right. And the main dude had mentioned in a line of dialogue that he'd never been to this place before.
Oh, I didn't pick that up. So that was Warren, or Luke.
Yeah, Luke, the only guy that kind of knew what he was doing out there.
Right, 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 right.
Yeah, everybody else had no business being on the water.
Because they're going to go to some romantic spot. It's supposedly this cool place. We're going to go dive this reef, and it's going to be awesome. So they get to the island. They put the big boat is anchored out quite a ways. They take the little red boat dinghy guy up in the shore. Everybody's having a good time. They're fucking on the beach, like, wow. And so well shot. Even I was like, yeah, man, because I've been to a lot of islands like that. I'm like, it is nice to sit there for a minute. I'm not an island person. I just don't, even Hawaii and shit, when I was there, I was like, okay, I found my way all the way around it. I need more room to roam. I need more room to roam. But being on an island, even for a day, is just amazing. It's cool to be there and see the vastness of the ocean. I think seeing it so close helps to put us in place. It gives you perspective. Like, damn.
The ocean always makes me feel like the world's going to be okay. Like it's too big for us to destroy it, which I know is wrong, but it
We're
feels that
working
way.
on it. We're working on it. I'm still waiting. It's probably been a decade now on that third Chuck Palahniuk book, unless it came out and I missed it, about Damned and Doomed, that 15-year-old girl who goes to hell, and the fucking Armageddon Island is starting in the ocean. It's all that plastic in the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, that's where Armageddon's going to happen. But they're having a really nice time. They're snorkeling. We get some cool underwater shots of them all doing their swimming around stuff. They see some shit, point some things out. But then Warren starts hooting and hollering from the boat. Hey, but I don't remember the engine is out. He can't get the engine to turn back over. And
And
hey,
they're going up onto the reef and scratching the boat.
because he can't get the boat. He tried to get it to start it, but the anchor, there's only so much chain, and if you don't have any, which maybe he didn't know the reef was there, but possibly send your rib boat guy out real quick and be like, "Yo, go check it out, see how deep this motherfucker is for the full length of the anchor chain, so I can just sit out here and swing in circles till it's time to go home."
Right.
But then we wouldn't have a movie, and it was kind of based on well, I shouldn't say, because the real event they said capsized, which could be waves, could be anything. But in this, they get back out to the boat. Stuff seems pretty good. Actually, they cruise for a while because we get a nice night
They're
shot.
coming back. They pop the dinghy though on the reef.
Right, because we can't use the dinghy to get us back to the island or get us to shore.
Right.
Yes. But we cruise on the boat for a bit, again, with no life jackets, not enough food and water, shit. But hey, to each their own. They cruise out. We get some cool night shots, like I said, bird's eye and things like that. And the following day is when we hit a reef. And this scares me. A boat turning the wrong way over.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're fucked, dude. And
You're
if you ever tried to been in the water and climb up on a boat,
It's impossible.
fucking possible.
Right.
And upside down, double impossible.
Right. Which they were able to get to a couple of the steps on the back of the boat because most boats have a small ladder and then assisted each other. Once one they push from the
Right.
bottom, which there is no way if you only have water to push. You're just going to push yourself down. You know what I mean? There's no way to
I
force.
thought that too. I was like, maybe they're standing on the reef. I don't know.
Well, once the one kind of got up, she was able to get her foot on the thing, and then we had a hand up there that then assisted the rest of us up onto the boat, where we spend a couple of nights, and maybe just one night, because they say something about planes and like there hasn't been any planes going
But I
anywhere.
don't even think we go to the night. I think this is like pretty quick. They're like, we gotta swim out of here. This thing's gonna sink.
Right, and they are right. Like if it's ruptured, it's eventually just water and gravity and shit's gonna take over, and it is gonna pull it down. And Luke at first dives under to get whatever he can find, which they didn't
And
take.
there's some scary scenes under there, dude, of the idea of being just like having 6 inches of air to breathe, dude, and he's looking for supplies and shit.
I just watched a shark one, a newer one, where they were in a situation like this. It was very narrow tunnels. They were in a cave system or something. It was pretty good though. I did enjoy it. It wasn't bad. But it was all CGI sharks. This I like that we don't see the shark for quite some time. Like you said, the tension is built everywhere else. The tension is him underneath, and then out of nowhere they start banging on the fucking thing. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like, "Oh shit! Like what is it?" And maybe something hits the side. He
Yeah,
might
for
hear something.
sure there was something big that hit the boat. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like
oh,
hey,
so scary, dude. And then he pokes his little head out, dude, with his little goggles on and he's looking around. So scary.
yeah,
That's a testament to the tension of this movie is that we didn't get Jaws doesn't work without that opening sequence to
right.
scare the fuck out of us.
Well, and
To be
Jaws only
afraid
works
of
because it was broke, though. You know what I mean? The shark
Right.
was broke, so they had to do what this movie did and not reveal the
Right.
shark. And I don't know if there was a mechanical shark in this thing, maybe just a headpiece, because I feel like we don't get a ton of really, up close and personal, like fucking Quint hanging out the mouth, trying to poke the shark in the face and shit while he's getting eaten. But with this one, you're right. He's peeking out, and we're constantly getting a view of that black wall. He knows that's the scary thing. He knows that's what makes it scary. So he's like, here's the fucking black wall, bro. You get to look at it. And Luke's real cool about he's our eyes in the water. He's always got his putting his goggles back down and then doing the quick surge. So well shot when he's trying to search between people's legs and shit and having to turn around and you got the bubbles and you're catching things, but we'll get there. We'll get there shortly. All he can find are, I think we got like two boogie boards
Yeah.
and that's it. And they
Yeah.
might have life jackets, like suit. Do they have life jackets on?
No, they have wetsuits. That's it.
Bed suits. And he's the one guy's even like, yeah, you're dressing up like a fucking seal. He's
Yeah.
like, sharks like seals.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
he's the one that won't go in the water. He's like, fuck you guys. Like, I grew up here and I know what's in that water and I'm not going in there.
he did. He said, I fished these waters my whole life and there ain't no way I'm getting in. Now, you're not doing yourself any favors just floating around on the fucking boat either.
No, because when
Nobody's
you sit
coming.
down, you're by yourself. And the
And
sharks are more attracted to the boat
they're
than they are.
curious.
Yeah.
They're curious. And we do get at some point a flash, real quick flash of him starting to see the sharks around the boat.
Yeah. And then we never see him again. And I thought back later and I was like, that's actually really good because it's
Yep.
scarier that we don't see what happens to him.
It's scarier that he probably slowly
Sorry.
went down. Yeah.
Real life, dude, one of the guys stayed back on the boat. They never found the boat or the guy.
And that dude, okay, quick sidebar, real quick sidebar. We were working with the Canadian Navy. We had taken a trip from San Diego up to Victoria and some other places. But we went to British Columbia and we were doing some like workups, practice drills, shit like that with the Canadian Navy. So they brought one of their boats out. We got one of ours. First off, they had it fucking made. Them dudes are like fully bearded, drinking beer and shit. They got like chairs on the deck where they get to sit while they're handling lines and stuff. I'm like, I'm in the wrong fucking service. Anyway, one of our exercises was to use our big, huge cannon and shoot this giant fucking orange ball that was floating way out in the middle of the ocean, right? I mean, this fucker's massive. I don't remember how big it was, but it was huge, huge orange ball. Within 10 minutes, we lost it. It was gone in the ocean, dude. We couldn't, a giant neon fucking orange ball. And we got everybody out there with binoculars looking around like, where did the ball go? That's what the ocean will do. It swallows you in a second.
Yeah.
And there's no coming back from that. If you're lost out there like that, there is no coming back. You're going with Davy Jones. You're in the locker. Congratulations. Hang out at Bikini Bottom.
Forget it, man. The ocean scares me so bad. Scares me the older I get, the scarier it gets. Like it's not like one of those childhood fears that you get over. It just gets worse. And I used to think as a kid, I would always like go and jump into the waves. I'd be up to my neck in the water, thought I was safe. A big ass shark can't get in this shout. And then I see videos of great whites like literally sunbathing up on the fucking beach, dude, and munching people. It is crazy.
Not munching people though. Maybe sunbathing right along the shore, but they do get close. But not just like going around like yeah.
But I've seen that video, dude, in Australia where the fisherman's like, "Oh, crikey, there's a shark out there. Oh, there's a swimmer out there." And you see that dude get pulled under and he bobs up and you see, "Oh, the shark got him." And then he's like,
Listen,
"Oh, he's swimming. Oh, it got him again."
and
He's gone.
I'm totally with you, and I agree with you that does happen, but it's not like the sharks. There was a PlayStation game though, Maneater, that I played the fuck out of, dude. I 100% platinum trophy that thing where you get to be a shark, but then you get upgrades and you can fly out of the water, land on parties and stuff going on, weddings all over, and just be
Dude, that happens. We just haven't caught it on video.
right. I did one time. I read that somebody, I don't know who the fuck said it, but they were like, the innate fear of the ocean is because we had to crawl from it. And we don't ever want to have to go back. This
Right.
fucking amoeba or whatever that had to do its thing. But either way, it's just a big, scary unknown. Unknown is scary.
I don't know how fish swim around in it, dude. They're in constant fear that they're going to be munched. A seal is like the fattest, juiciest, delicious steak just swimming around the ocean. How does it not know that it's like, I I have a lifespan of like 3 days.
Because I think we are one of the few things that is reflective like that. I don't think most things are thinking like that. It's more just primally driven.
Dang, dude, I wish I was a seal. I wish I could just go through life.
But then you see videos of octopuses that legit just seem to be throwing rocks at fish for the fuck of it. Like,
Well,
bro,
yeah, octopuses are like the straight up pimps of the ocean, dude.
orcas out there doing like mad thugging, dude, playing with their food, just gangster and shit. Like Tony Sopranos of the ocean is the orca.
100%. Yeah.
Dude, there's so many cool things in the fucking water though, and so many types of sharks too. Though you watch Shark. I love Shark Week, and it's coming. If it hasn't already started, I know I'm gonna be on it. But seeing the different ones, the little ones, the fucking camouflage on the ocean floor, and then it will just like pop out, and then they're there doing their thing. Nature's fucking wild. If we did not have posable thumbs and fire, we wouldn't be here.
Oh,
We would not be here because I mean our ancestors had to fight against like scary fucking nature on the regular, dude. We're gonna share a cave with a bear
yeah.
and hope that motherfucker just hibernates through the winter and don't wake up hungry.
That
Because
grizzly man shit, dude. He lived with bears for like a long time, and he was like, "They're my best friends." And then it just took one bad day, one
that's
hungry bear.
it wasn't a hungry bear. It was probably a bad day though. You're right though. Human beings do the same shit all the time though. We're almost worse about it. We'll be like one bad day, we're gonna go buy an assault rifle and shoot up our fucking workplace and we're probably the worst of the worst when it comes to doing shit like that. Like the bear did it once, and everybody's like, "Oh, fucking bears!" And the other, however many thousands, hundreds of thousands of bears that never hurt anybody are just like, "Leave me the fuck alone!" Like, I'm nervous around you, but you're around my kids and shit. And if you a human mother, you start threatening her children, that's a fight I would never want to get in. I would never want to get between a mother and a child, dude. And in nature is the same way across the board. But you're right. That chimpanzee lady. Did you ever watch that thing? I watched
Oh,
a
she got her
documentary
face ripped off, dude, by her little buddy.
that she had had for like 15 years or something.
Michael Jackson get away, dude. He was trying to eat away at his face his whole life, and his monkey never even touched him.
No, but she also went to like a chimpanzee reserve where instinct is always going to find a way to take over if it needs to. And if these other monkeys start freaking it out, it's just like, fuck it, dude.
Nature finds a way.
Yeah, nature. What do you think about the new Jurassic Park? You gonna see it?
Straight up garbage, dude. Why?
Yeah, I'm not there either. Not in the theater. I'm excited about Superman though. But let's get back in the water. Let's get back to the reef.
Let me
So,
ask you one thing about your Navy days.
yeah,
Did they ever tell you anything that would be helpful if you were in the water with a shark?
no, ours was more like explosions and debris and stuff, like to make sure you're protecting your main organs because things might be either like because when shit starts to sink, it creates a suction. Like get away from the suction because you're just gonna get pulled straight down with the ship with no chance of getting out because the pull, you know what I mean? That's a giant fucking chunk of metal. The
Right.
pull on that is just gonna grab you and pull you in a current, and there you go down with the boat.
Unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio, because he swam right past it and had Rose in his hand the whole time
Right.
and grabbed her a door to float on.
We're but
Beautiful, dude. I thought Celine Dion was
awesome.
there.
You swim away from it and then get onto your back to make sure that nothing, to keep your stomach or no, on your back towards the air to like protect your stomach. So if anything falls on you, that it's not going to pierce all your organs right away. If I'm remembering that right, but I will tell you, dude, that if I was out there in this situation, I would kind of been like Warren. Maybe I'd have been like, unless we knew how close land was, or I was like, why the fuck didn't you think about this, Luke? You're
Right.
a fucking idiot. Like you're in love with her, right? And shit. Like this, is how you do a good first date. Like you're a
Right.
jackass. There's no snacks, boats upside down, no life jackets.
Right.
You're
You
the worst host ever on a boat. I'd be really mad at Luke in this situation. But I have been out there also on aft lookout in the middle of the night. And when you see all the iridescent plankton lighting up for what just looks like miles, it's just like an awe that is hard to describe. Just being like, nature is the coolest shit ever. Like, we need to be a little nicer and shit because it is Pretty rad. And then, I'd see, I almost hit a whale with my fucking little rib boat because I used to drive the small boat like they have in this one. It was my job in the Navy to drive that up to the drug boats, and then all the guys would jump off, fuck, get down, blah, 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 blah. So I would be sitting out on that bitch in the open ocean. It's not very big just for a long time. And I'd go out there and fuck around and be racing it around and shit. But you'd come up over some waves sometimes, dude, and just wail. And it's like, stop. Because if you hit a fucking whale, dude, that's it. Boat's going down. So anyway, back to the boat, back to this boat that they're on. They have one guy, Warren, who says, I'm not doing it. I don't care. He made up his mind. And at first, and what's her name again? I'm sorry, do you remember her name off the top of your head? Luke's love interest, our main female lead next to Luke. But at first, she is really hesitant as well. She's like, I'm not.
Susie was that character.
Susie?
Yeah, Susie and Kate were the two females.
Susie and Kate. So Susie at first is going to stay with Warren. She's like, I don't think so, dude. And and all of these cats are acting this stuff really well. Kate's going wherever Matt's going. These two are together. She's sticking by his side. We're going to do this thing. So the three of them head off, Luke, Kate, and Matt. Susie, after they swim out just a little bit, is like, hey, fucking.
Because he probably said something creepy to her, dude. Warren was like, as soon as they're out of sight, you won't have to be afraid of the sharks anymore.
Right.
You're going to have to be afraid of the trouser snakes. And she was like, wait, I'm coming with you.
He's like, no.
Oh, come
I
on.
should have waited until they were way out of earshot before I
Honestly, this is
being
going to work out
creepy.
really good for me. Now I'm going to sink and die without getting my nut off.
No, in all seriousness, though, she seemed like she knew him as well because she gave him like a hug and was like, are you sure you're not going to come with us, dude? Like, please come with us. He's like, nope, staying right here. So these four take off. Luke gives Susie his little piece of paddleboard and they start swimming. He's like, I think there should be land about this far. Should only take us about 3 hours. Again, the guy who forgot to bring everything and doesn't seem to know.
And he's the one that's like, we can't see it, but there's an island out there. Can you, dude, like how hard is it to like actually find an island in the middle of the fucking ocean if you're just swimming a little bit
You can't
past the
see
current?
anything, man. And they were so fortunate. And from a filmmaking standpoint, it makes sense. This ocean was extraordinarily calm the entire time they are out there. The entire time. I've been in swells where when you get down to the bottom of it, you can't see anything outside of a wall of water in front of you that's going up like 12, 15 feet and a wall of water behind you. And they're just rolling super long and slow. And you'll get to the peak of one and you'll like see the ship and try and point the boat in the right direction, then have to go down and up. And the ocean is crazy, dude. It's crazy violent. I've been in some shit that's just like, fuck. If you fell in, that's it, dude. Like you're not even gonna make it in 2 seconds. You're just gonna be thrown about and just smashed. It might even like snap limbs. How violent
The power that it takes to move that water that's out there in the middle of nowhere, where
right.
you can't see land, that water is being moved by
Takes
Mother Nature.
the moon.
The moon is doing it.
I mean, not only the moon, but that's how big of a force it is. Like you said, the ocean makes you feel like it'll be all right. It'll be okay. Life will find a way, even if we try our hardest to demolish this whole beautiful, amazing rock that we all get to share. But she catches up with them, gets her little piece of paddleboard, and we make it. Does Matt gets taken on the first day? No, they fall asleep. They fall asleep, and then I think Matt gets taken, but not before. This is where when I remember this so distinctly, seeing this for the first time. When he's got the fucking goggles and they start talking about, hey, I see some shit. I seen something. He's like, oh, what? No, Matt sees the turtle shell. We see a big sea turtle. What the fuck are you doing, Matt? Like, oh, I better go check it out. No. Don't get anywhere near it because even if it's a regular fucking, what does he want to hang out and follow you guys with your boogie boards towards land?
It worked for Jack Sparrow, dude. He got out by tying two sea turtles together.
Dun, 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 dun.
Why,
Jack
what do you
Sparrow
think?
got away with a lot of shit that people can't get away with. He, it's just the way it goes. But this guy, he goes, checks out the turtle. There's blood around it. It's mawed up a bit. And it's not long before somebody sees something else. And now Luke's looking. And this, dude, the camera work, so good.
So good.
Between the legs, you've got all these little legs going this way, and you're peeking and like we're looking through Luke's eyes, and he'll come up, clean him out. I don't see anything. They're like, oh, over there. And then he goes back down. He's looking again. And then way off in the dark, you
Yeah,
just
you see a shadow, dude.
see this fucking. Oh, it's so good. It is like under your skin, just like that is Hitchcock level fucking filmmaking right there. Like this for me, this sequence is just execution on all fronts of how to scare the fuck out of somebody with barely doing anything. It's fucking what's his face in the corner in the Blair Witch. It's like it's just oh so good. And then he comes back up and is like, fuck, shark.
Ah,
Okay, we got a shark. He, I believe, is the one telling them, like, okay, don't fucking panic, but people are gonna start to panic no matter what. First, we're out here on boogie boards.
of a boogie board.
Yeah. They had to snap it in half so that
Might as well be on one of the igloo coolers, dude. They're not doing good.
and then a Yeti cooler goes riding by. It's their new promo, like Yeti fucking jet ski. You ever get trapped out in the water? Only fucking sign us off your firstborn. So he keeps them together for a little bit and watches the shark. And now we get to see shark. And this is really good, real shark footage. This isn't the shark charging at you. This isn't the shark. This is he hand selected scenes that fit with what they were doing side by side. And then in some spots, like I said, we get it intercut, and it's not terrible. When I said, it shows a
No,
little
there's a
bit.
couple of shots where the legs are there and the shark's shadows in the background. And I was like, were these people in the water with that fucking thing? Or like, how did they get that? Or does this intercut? Somebody who knows how to do movies,
Right.
like I can usually spot that kind of shit. And I couldn't spot it in this. So fucking.
There was only, I think the one I really noticed was near the end. It was somewhere at the reef.
And
And
that's where it starts getting egregious. We really start seeing the shark a lot.
right, right. And here we do see the shark and he watches it and it goes back and forth and we're just like, oh, dude. And I would say if you can, the way to watch any movie like this, to watch Paranormal Activity, to watch Open Water, to watch The Reef, is to do it all by yourself.
Yeah. Let yourself get into it. Let
Let
yourself
yourself
get
be
taken away.
lost with these people. Let yourself feel the isolation because you can't feel isolated with somebody sitting next to you, but you
Right.
can feel part of a group and really get into it. Turn your phone off, put it away, sit. It's like an hour and a half, something like that. Sit and really get lost in it, and I think you'll be impressed by how effective this thing is at creating an atmosphere of tension that never lets up. I feel like there's never really a
Oh,
moment of
dude, my shoulders were all fucked up after I watched this movie. Like, I was like, dang, I was tense
from
for an
being,
hour and a half.
yeah, just from being so tight. But we are now, I don't know if we have night yet or not. I can't remember if night's before Matt dies or not. But Matt has to go. He just decides to swim off on his own to go get the busted piece of the boogie board thing.
And I guess
And
if you're tired, dude, you're cramping and shit. Like, that is your lifeline.
I'd have been like, Luke, you go get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's a good idea. But like, if it was me and you, man, you'd be like, Duke Spooky, go out there and get that thing. You let it go.
well,
And I'd be
first
like,
off,
"Let's get Roscoe's."
how did I get you out into the middle of the ocean? And if I was the one who did not double check, if I was the one who didn't look for life jackets, for a radio, a sat phone, you know what I mean? We could have a sat phone anywhere now. If I didn't guarantee all those things, I'll go out and swim and get it. But if
Yeah.
I guaranteed all those things, or if I expected you, like you presented yourself as like, I got this shit figured out. I got it.
I was the one that fucking left the snacks in the car. Like,
Right, right.
get
Life
a pound of gummy bears in there, man.
You're just sitting there holding gummy bears. They're almost all gone. No life jackets.
I'd be the guy in the ocean, dude, that forgot I shoved some into my shorts, and I'm sitting there sneaking gummy bears when you fuckers are looking at sharks.
I'll be like, get on your back. We're using you as a float. You fucking better stay up, motherfucker. We'd be all on you like the door in Titanic. Just I'm down there by your nuts, just like fuck that guy, man. Fuck this guy.
We're in the ocean. Why does this still smell like cheese?
How is that possible? Anyway, Matt gets taken, and our kills are not super in your face either. You know, it's we get a couple.
They're realistic, dude.
That's what makes it scary. Because at first he only gets his leg taken off, and then they go find him.
But that's the fear. That's my fear, dude, is that I'm that guy that's just helpless, dude. Bob in there. Just call me Bob. I'm no longer Robert because I'm missing a leg. Now I'm just Bob, just floating up and down, dude. And that shark, he swims away from the people, dude, like a fucking champ. I'd be like, I'm trying to crawl on top of my friends, push them underneath, dude. I'd be doing anything I could.
I'll quickly turn into Master Yoda. Yeah, but he does. He's like, I'm bleeding the fuck out everywhere. If they don't have life jackets, they don't have a tourniquet.
No.
No, they don't have a tourniquet. And so Kate like sadly watches him. Like you said, they just kind of like bye. And there he goes. And he knows it's gonna happen quick. And it does. Like they do see him get taken completely down. And that's the end of Matt. Great performances here as everybody deals with the passing of Matt. Everybody shows up in their own ways. Kate's like fucking or no, Susie's just like stoic, stuck in the water, like
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, get fucking together. Like we gotta keep swimming. We don't have
There's
it.
a great moment where the camera's just on her, like you said, and it's just her eyes. And Luke can't say anything. Like, what do you say to like try to make her feel better? But he's just trying to calm her down, like kind of rubbing her hair and stuff. And you see her come back. She goes from like being completely gone and paralyzed with terror to like, okay, I can think again. Let's keep swimming because what else can we do?
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. And you're right. And they did have, I think, a romantic moment on the beach. Maybe they were kissing and we saw that they were kind of reconnecting and that fire was coming back between these two. Kate's a hot mess. She just watched her husband get fucking decimated by a great white shark. And they continue on for a while. And I don't know when he like gets the idea. When do they hit that first little reef? Is that after Kate dies?
Yeah, because there's just the two of them when they get to that little reef.
Yeah, and when but I think we were going towards that with Kate. Kate gets taken out because we make it to one reef and everybody, the three of them are still up there together and she's like, "Oh, it feels so good to be on land, you know, to be out of the water."
That's the other thing, though, dude. And they talk about that too, is that the scariest fucking part is when you're waiting to get rescued.
Oh.
Like you're waiting your turn to get pulled out of the water, dude, and your friends are getting pulled up, but it's taken forever, dude, and you're still floating, just looking around like, fuck, I'm so close.
In the Indianapolis, they've been out there 3 days. And they said some dudes went fucking nuts, started just drinking the seawater. Other guys were like, I see the island right there. We're having fucking hallucinations and shit and just swam off into the ocean, never to be seen again. There's some wild sea stories. If you really look back into the history of shit that people claim they've seen in the ocean, it's
Again, I'm like the ocean to me is the scariest thing in the fucking world, dude. So I have a million fears to talk about. But the other one though is you think about how brave those motherfuckers were who thought the earth was flat. The
yeah.
guys that first like developed sailing and they were just like, and most of them didn't even know how to fucking swim. Went out into the big scary blue, dude. They thought there were real life sea monsters. Fuck sharks. They thought there were sea monsters, dude.
I mean, some of them probably, you know, like a humongous whale or some shit. I can imagine it
Yeah,
fucking.
that's where sea monsters came from.
And who know? We don't know what's at the bottom of our ocean.
No, we don't.
So we could have fucking who knows what, dude. Just like a mammoth fucking like dun 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 dun. Who fucking knows? That's
Dude,
how cool nature is. We got dinosaur bones everywhere.
think
Dinosaur.
about how many dinosaur bones are in the ocean.
What kind of dinosaurs are still down there? If there's an ecosystem that's self-sustaining, You know,
Right.
if they don't need to come up for anything, then just like you go down there, you just see eyes the size of fucking like cars and shit. Like, I guess they wouldn't need eyes down there probably, unless it's somehow light down there. I don't know. Back to the movie. Back to the movie. Um, So we get to the small reef area, and then we see a station of some sort, some kind of relay station, power station. I don't know. It could be a Coast Guard thing. Who knows what
Said
it's
it was, yeah, they said it was like an old radio station, and that the only way they could send a signal is if a plane flew over. So they were really like not even guaranteed to get saved if they made it to the reef.
Right, right. But I mean, I'd rather be on land. I don't know though. Maybe having the shark
Yeah.
take, like looking the shark right in the face and just being like, "Let's do this, bitch." There's a movie. Have you seen Shark Lake with Dolph Lundgren?
No, I have not.
You need to watch Shark Lake because there's one part where he is in the lake with the shark. He's got his dukes up underwater and punches the shark directly in the nose, and the shark turns around and leaves this bull shark
Yeah.
right in the face. So back to the movie. We have Kate, we have Susie, we have Luke on the rock that are going to get to the relay station. That is their main mission right now. And it's like he looks around, like the reef only goes so far, and like you said, drop off. We have a huge channel in between here and there that's full range hunting grounds before they can get to the other side. We got to do it. Let's go. I think he might have maybe had to go get a piece of the. No, did they just have the one piece of the board? Was
Yeah,
he still
so
free swimming?
when she got attacked, the
The
third
board. Yeah.
yeah, so they lost the board and he decided to go swim out for it. And it was totally that like Indiana Jones like let it go, son.
Right.
Like, you can
Um,
almost get it, Dad.
but they are crossing the way. We lose Kate, and she dies pretty violently, if I remember right. Savage.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Allergic to all that fucking chaos that happened. I always just make that up. Whenever I'm anywhere, just say, "Oh, I must be allergic to whatever's going on in my life."
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's
Shit
something my
never,
dad did.
shit always slays.
It doesn't. I don't think anybody even cares. But I think it's something my dad always did that I'm just like, that's my dad inside and staying alive somehow. I don't fucking know. Um, so Kate gets taken, and now we have a mad dash. Just fucking swim. Like after Kate's gone, go, go. And like you said, we're seeing a lot more of the shark here, but still not a ton of we'll get a quick like flash, boom, boom, quick back and forth, between a shark's head, which might have been a prop or something like that, or it could have been, they put cameras in the fucking water and bait them and be like, bite this shit
Yeah.
all the time. I mean, the air jaws has been going on for like 20 seasons now. You're just like, yeah, chum these motherfuckers, or just watch them. Sometimes they ain't chumming, but other times they'll be like, yeah, let's fucking get a shark over by this cage. So the swam, and they're going, he sees the shark. And this is a good moment too when they have a head to head, like a quick little face off, and he darts just out of the way as the shark's about to hit and like kicks his leg over in its face. And again, seems more realistic. It's not Jaws in that this shark is what we would learn if you read the novels and stuff. It was a voodoo curse that was placed upon a family, and the shark, that's why it followed him from the first movie all the way down to the Bahamas in the fourth movie. Like, why would the shark do the same thing again? But there was some kind of curse on the family that brought that shark to do everything that it did. But we got a lot more, like I said, him eating Quint and like bigger out of the water shit that doesn't even make sense. It's not how sharks move.
Right.
Whereas this makes a little more sense. And they get to the rocks. The rock face is just high enough, dude. And
Yeah.
we're just talking about it on the boat. It's not just on the boat. It's here. Is that thing is so slick with water and bird shit.
Yeah.
It's covered. I've been out on shit like that. Like we had to do this thing called mooring to a buoy, where they'd have these huge buoys out in the water, like probably 12 feet across either way, round. And the ship would pull up right next to it. And I did it a couple times. One time I drove the boat, one time I hooked up the chain. And imagine being like just off the surface of the water with a fucking giant naval vessel like hanging over your head, sending down a huge piece of chain. You know, it's big. And they even sent us down there with like dirt or something, some kind of grit like cat litter or something like that to put on there because there was so much bird shit, dude. If birds have a place to land in the ocean, they're gonna shit all over it.
Right.
And so it not only do you have water slick, but you got bird shit slick. He gets her, pushes Susie up, and this is after they do their "I love yous." He's like, "Yo, do you?" And he means it. You hear it in his voice. This guy's been waiting for this moment. This was his gal that he wanted to pursue, and she's almost got him up. He's screaming, "Fuck, pull me up, pull me
Pull
up,
me up, bitch. Pull me up.
yeah. Take my strong hand." No, shark. But yeah, it is a really harrowing moment, because we've watched this guy be a piss poor planner, but a really good in the moment, taking charge. You like Luke, you kind of like all of them. There's not really a character in this
Yeah.
thing outside the story you made up about Warren, but I don't think Warren really was a super gross creep.
He was a gross creep, dude. Trust me on this one.
I
We
don't
can
think
spell our own.
uh, fair enough. So he gets taken by the shark. She watches this happen and then gives an Oscar worthy performance in the tragedy that it's very Sally.
That close, dude. That close. You're holding hands. You're right there, and it's almost you like almost get pissed at her. Why did you pull harder? Like, what's wrong with you?
Like Ace Ventura with the raccoon, or we could say Stallone and Cliffhanger. Um, and we get her being, the response I think that is warranted, everything that she's been through, and some title cards that she was rescued a day later, and Warren and the boat were never found. Roll credits.
Dang. It works, dude. It works on every level.
Every level. Every level. I have a handful of shark movies that I really like. Jaws, Jaws 2.
Yeah, top five right now.
Oh, okay. But that's a lot for right now. But I'll tell you the ones that I might, if there's more than five, I might have to do something. But okay, so Jaws 2, Deep Blue Sea, Bait. I really like Bait. This movie, of course. That's off the top of my head, top five right there. Like those are ones if somebody was like, give me a really solid, and I'm sure I'm missing some that I really enjoy. But
What
those,
about what about Deep Blue Sea?
I did say Deep Blue Sea. Those are my number three.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Oh, dude, Deep Blue Sea. I was working at the movie theater when that shit released, and I went and watched it right when it came out and fell in love with it, man. It was that perfect like time in my life. It was like Halloween H2O was around that time. Deep Blue Sea. I was probably for sophomore, junior in high school, somewhere in there. But and LL Cool J just slays, dude. And
Dude.
Robot Stars.
Oh hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
And who's the Thomas Jane? Is
Thomas
the lead?
Jane. Yeah.
Was up.
My
Same.
sister met LL Cool J. She called me and she was like, I'm here, like LL Cool J's here. And I was like, run home real fast. It was like 5 minutes from our house. I was like, get your copy of Deep Blue Sea, take it to him, have him sign my hat is like a Sharks fan. And she fucking did. And she has that, dude, forever.
Stop. That's
And
amazing.
he signed it like that too.
I'm sure he loves it, dude. I'm
Yeah.
sure he loves it.
She was like, what was it like working with the bird? And he was like, it was hard.
And then fucking parrot, and then
Now get the fuck out of here.
with a stove, dude. Turn the gas on and boom.
That's scary, dude, when he was in the stove.
Those are all really good ones. Open Water, I like. I think it was the first something about the Cage movies. There was a Cage one that
Well, 47 meters down was
the
good.
first one of those was really solid. The second
Yeah.
one wasn't even too bad. As far as the trash ones, I really like the Santa Jaws. The sharks, the Christmas, and he's just swimming around with Christmas lights attached to him. I'm like, that's fucking, you just give no fucks and make a movie. Dude. Just, I can't remember how they explained the power source that he kept the lights somehow blinking and you just see fucking CGI Finn going with Christmas lights hanging out the back. All right, you go. Lil Dookie Spooky, top five shark movies.
Oh, top five shark movie.
In no particular order.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna say Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea 2 is really good, dude.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's like a Psycho 2 or a Jaws 2. Like it's one that I can really appreciate. The third one, not so much, but the second one for
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah. 47 meters down is definitely on that top five list. And I know it's stupid, dude, but I fucking love Jaws 3. Like, I get that it's terrible shark effects. I wish that they would redo it with like a better shark.
And there could be something there. And I'm gonna see if I can find it. When I packed all the shit up for the garage sale, I had a bunch of old horror magazines in there, and I have one that has a big write-up on Jaws 3. If I can, I'll try and set it aside so you can read it because it was actually a lot of fun.
And
When
I saw it with my dad when you would go to 7-Eleven and buy the 3D glasses, dude. Yeah, that was the first time I saw it. And it was the first time I saw a 3D movie. And it was awesome.
it was something. I love in the interview that I read, or they were quoting some interview with Dennis Quaid, and he was like, "Yo, every single person on that set was on cocaine the entire time we made that movie." And I'm like, it tells. I mean, I love
Hey.
Louis Goss Jr. though is so good in there. You're right. If it wasn't for the
So bad, dude. But that was for the 3D, man. I mean, it was
get
just
it, but if you can't make the fin move, don't
yeah.
fucking do
Yeah.
it. It looks like a torpedo.
They literally didn't give a fuck on that movie. They were just like, get as long as we have cocaine, we're gonna get through this.
And the same thing with Jaws 4. I read Michael Caine's book, and he's like, I made Jaws 4 to buy my mom a house. He's like, I knew it was a piece of trash movie. But I'm a Mario fan people is fuck cool though. Like we can hang
Hell
out with
yeah,
Jaws
dude.
4.
They were like doing research on those snails and they had that cool little submarine. I loved that shit, dude, when I was a kid.
Right, right.
The opening scene, I was just like, oh my God, dude, it came for his son.
And that's the thing is like, a shark can't be Jason Voorhees.
It just swims up with the mask on, dude.
So, but there, like you said earlier, there's such a range of shark horror cinema there's something for everyone. Whether you like the super cheesy, the cheesiest you can get to, or a little bit more of the elevated kind of character driven stuff, with a lot of story and things like that. But for me, the shark always takes that's what I'm there for. You
Right.
get the greatest love, fucking drama story, horror story, whatever around a shark movie. I'm like, I'm here for the shark.
I can't believe they haven't done a proper Indianapolis movie.
Oh, that Nicolas Cage shit.
That's what I mean. A proper one, not that shit.
You should write it, dude. If it hasn't been done, I mean, that's a story now too. That some people know it, but I feel like not everybody is aware of the Indianapolis. And I'm sure the research now with AI, you could be like, give me all the research available on the USS Indianapolis tragedy.
The last podcast guys did a great like 4 episode treatment on that, and it was good.
Yeah, that was some crazy Navy shit, dude. I remember them talking to us about it in boot camp, telling us the story and being like, hey. Because when I got to the boat, you had to learn when I got to the ship, you had to learn firefighting and everything. I did all kinds of jobs, and they were like, you got 453 feet to run before you got to turn around and do something.
Um,
So you might as well figure out how to do it right out of the gate, like
Yeah.
listen to what the fuck we're, because if this shit catches on fire, like, yes, we might be able to get somebody out here relatively quickly. We will be able to distress, but if it is sinking,
Right.
right. And we
You
had
can
these.
make that fun choice: burn or drown.
No, we had these things on there if they worked right. And most of the time they were maintenance. Then the government's real fucking anal about their maintenance. But if the ship did sink, they had a saltwater release on it that would life rafts up to the surface. So it would dissolve itself. Like you could get up there. If you had time, you'd get up there and fucking just pull the thing and fucking go. But if there wasn't time, it should, in theory, still pop you up a life raft at some point. They, had provisions in it. They had cover from the fucking sun, the stuff you would need to stay out there for a little while, but it would still be a little gnarly. Okay, so out of how many terrifying oceans out of five, how many do you give 2010's The Reef?
4.75. Because it ain't Jaws, but it's right there.
I am and we've spewed our love for this thing, so we don't even have to really
Yes.
get into all that again, but I'm 4.5. And
Okay.
only because I talked myself down. I was with you at 4.75, but when I talked about how dumb Luke was and not prepared, I'm like, come on, man. You got but no, that, all joking aside, a 4.5, a 4.75, either one of those, like what we're trying to say is this check it and it's available pretty wide.
Actually, I had to rent it. I couldn't find it.
Well, if you're certain subscription services like Shutter has it,
Shutter, you got it.
Philo, I think, might have it, and the Philo app might be free, but I'm not sure if that one is. I did not own it. I picked it up on Apple TV for $7.99 to buy it. You could rent it for 4 or buy it for 8, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it, yeah, because at some point I'll want to watch this again because I don't have Shutter anymore, but I think I did. Possibly this was one of the ones I rewatched when I did because anytime I see it, I'm like, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's that
Yeah,
good.
I was kind of shocked that this was on your list because I didn't remember it being as good as I thought it was this time. I had seen this one before. There's also a sequel, Reef 2, and the picture on the front is a shark grabbing a big orange ball, dude. Maybe
So
that shark found your big orange
I
ball.
I did watch Reef 2 Stalked. Yeah, I watched it when it first came out. I'm telling you, if it's sharks or spiders, I'm gonna watch it. Every single one of them. And some of them I'm like, even 20 minutes in, I'll be like, well, this ain't gonna be the best ride, but I'm gonna sit here and enjoy this. Because those two things have just always fascinated me. The idea of spiders being, a lot of people are afraid of spiders, but you sit there and watch them and you're like, that motherfucker has no idea of like up, down, right, wrong. You just kind of go where you want to go. Oh yeah, I'm on the wall. No, I'm on the ceiling. No, I'm on the side. No, I'm on the floor. No, I'm on the, and oh yeah, yeah, straight out my little in my back piece back here. I'm gonna spit out the strongest natural substance known to man. You know what I mean? If we had rope-sized spider web, it's stronger than steel and shit. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to 4.5 on this. It is a ton of fun. Check it out when you got a chance. Now we are going to take a moment to pause for the living. We need a little music there. Like shifting gears. Yeah.
Why do we need that with your mouth jukebox, dude? We don't need some
I,
prefabricated bull.
I could, yeah, I could do it fresh every
Just
time.
come
You never,
right off your heart, dude. Just
every time.
every time.
That's how I live my life. Can I did post this on Facebook earlier because I did go back to taking over my social media from my wife after we talked about it for a little bit. She's still going to do all my bookings for me, but I am going to do the other part because she's like, I'm just not like you like that. I just don't talk and stuff like that to people and whatnot. But I got a text message earlier. And I did, if my thing will let me. Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, here we go. And this is something that I'm not going to use dude's name, even though he told me I could use his name. But um, so 9:20 or 9:52 in the AM, I get this message. Hey, man, couple things I wanted to share with you this morning. One really important, and two not so important. First thing, I need you to know that I feel like I can literally hear your voice in my head when I'm feeling down or bad about myself. And I think you've been one of, if not the most positive people to have an impact in my life ever. And I just want to say thank you for that. And that's it. And I think that's important that when you feel loved for your friends, that you tell them. So I just wanted to say, I love you, homie. Now, on to the less important stuff. I watched Sinners and Until Dawn, and I think both were honestly great movies. Sinners might be a little bit better, but that's apples to oranges. I was super happy with both movies. But it was the first part of that message that it was crazy, man, because that has been, let me see. Sorry, my screen is kind of small and I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger. I don't know where you went. I don't know why I can't see you.
Right here, buddy. Don't worry.
I'm still there. You are. But that first part, and for me, that is 100% everything of what I'm trying to do in the world. And I was thinking about it. I was kind of, first of all, I responded to him and I'm like, yo, do you like, that's 100% what I'm trying to like, that's fucking awesome, man. And I fucking love you too. But in this space that I find myself in right now, I've heard people say it before, but I feel like I understand some sort of you just gotta sit in the universal flow of shit. Shit has a way of moving.
Yeah.
And if you fight it, it doesn't ever really reward in the ways you think it's going to, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think that universal flow, that movement of things, that stuff that we can't really articulate, but we know is there. I think that those things fucking like kindness. I
Yeah.
mean, we are a people that I think more than anything want to feel loved. We're a social creature that's been together trying to fight for survival and all these things for so long. We want to feel loved. We want to feel these things. Um, but it's not the default.
It's so hard to fucking say it, dude. And I'm somebody that really has a hard time saying it
We've
because
talked.
I think that I feel like it means something when you say that. Some people throw it around like, "What's up, dude? You know, I love you, man." But I say it to when I mean it, and I have a hard time saying it sometimes because I'm like built in of that weird like your dad being like, don't be, you know.
I get you. That was a whole generation, not just your.
Yeah.
That was, a whole generation of people. And their parents were, a whole generation of dads who were battered by two fucking violent wars, and then were told not to talk about it.
Mhm.
It's very multifaceted. It's not just your dad. It's not just his dad. Not just his dad. And that shit goes back, however far you could probably follow those lines. And it is hard to talk about at times. For myself, I believe it stems from seeing the connectedness of everything.
Mhm.
It makes it very easy to appreciate. And I can look at you, I can say, I love you, little Dookie Spooky. And I can, just your existence, like your humanity, the fact that we exist in the same place in the same time. It doesn't, Hallmark sells us, a different idea of love. HBO sells us a different idea of love. Everybody sells a different idea of what love means. And I think too often we say, I found love. Okay, I got it. I know what that means. And I'm just going to ride this out. I got my love for my one person. I got my ride or die. And I got my kids and I fucking love them. And that's okay. And it is okay, to love your fucking spouse and love your kids is a great thing. That is a great thing. To just be present is a great thing. But to look beyond that, I see most people now, and I don't even see people. I see more expressions of emotions and manifestations of elements and shit like that. And for me, it's easy to be like, yo, that's dope. And then now I don't tell everyone that I love them. I don't just walk around like fucking
You'd be arrested.
Maybe not. I think I'd probably get the cop and be like, "You look like you need a fucking hug, dude. Let's just hug it out for a second." Being a cop's fucking hard. Like, fucking, I just wanted to be hugged for fucking ever. Like, nobody ever just said, like, fucking, you're okay.
Are you nude under that trench coat, sir?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Part of the love.
With a puppet.
Uh,
Oh, boy. So, but love for so many people is something that you can frame. I find it hard to even express the words anymore for what love feels like and what that stuff. For my wife, it is a different kind of love. For that relationship, it is a very different. But it's kind of like the ocean. Okay, imagine the ocean with me since we've been talking about the ocean. A wave is a wave, correct?
Correct.
Is a wave the ocean?
It's part of the ocean.
How is it independent?
because it's standing up on top of the ocean.
But you go down straight to the bottom. It's not, where's the top?
Yeah.
What
Where
I'm
are you
getting
getting
at, what
at?
I'm getting at here is that to me, love is like an ocean like that. There's no way to really describe it. And we try, though, to say that's love. The ocean is the wave, or the wave is the ocean, when neither is true, but both are right at the same exact time. They are an independent thing, but they're completely interdependent with everything else in there. It's only when we kind of box it in and put the thing on it. When you look at it, you could look at the ocean enough and be like, I see the sun. Like you can actually start to see those things. The earth is right there, like all the rocks. Like we're just floating on a fucking rock, bobbing around, held together by fucking forces and all these different things. And but love is kind of like that. For myself, I find it really hard to articulate, to try and find a way to pinpoint any part of it. But I think once you understand its big, huge nature, like it's so much more than just us. Like I think people like Johnny Cash and June Carter are representations of what a like found big love can look like. I think we've seen relationships like that throughout time. Um, and then you see love used interchangeably with lust, which is all the time that kind of stuff happens. Or love can be very little. You can guard yourself completely. I was talking to my daughter's ex-boyfriend about it. Not love, but this idea that I'm going to present to you, two sides of the same, a coin. And you can't, if you cut a coin in half, you could say you have two halves of a coin, but you still have a whole thing that has two halves. You can't remove a half. You can't know cold unless you know hot. It just doesn't, work like that. And so with love, if you love really big, the other side of love's coin is pain and grief. And you are going to feel it to whatever level you were willing to express yourself and give yourself. So if you want to know it at the deepest depths, I think that love has to go deep into that love ocean, you got to be extraordinarily vulnerable. You got to be raw. You got to be ready to commit in ways that you've never really done that before. And that's a really real thing. But then when that eventually is going to get severed, because we will all get severed from the people we know at some point, that grief is going to be extraordinary. But if you only love a little bit, then you only got to worry about a little bit of grief. But it's up to you to choose how big and deep you want to go. Love ocean.
The ocean of love. And just be a love boat on top of that ocean.
Not upside down, though.
Not a capsize. This isn't a Poseidon.
No, let's not do that. So that's my two bits, but I wanted to give you Duke Spooky because we were talking a little bit before the show, before we started the recording. Talk a little bit about your situation, because anybody who's been here for the ride, who's been here down since day one, heard the struggles, heard
Yeah.
the work struggles that were going on, that you were going through. I was blessed enough to get all of the off the air stuff at the same time. And I truly mean that. Blessed I might have used a little jokingly, but I was happy to be able to be here through a lot of that stuff because it was intense, and I feel like we got back together at the right time, but you went through some shit and now we're going through some more stuff. So why don't you tell
Yeah.
our
So
ghost.
anybody that knows from before is I almost lost myself, lost the person that I was, the person that I loved. I felt like that person got lost because of a job situation and somebody in that job situation making my life miserable. But more than making my life miserable on the surface, got into my head in a way that I would never let somebody get into my head. Um, Took me down to a place that like opened up all kinds of my own phobias and all of my own problems, and I was just like drowning. And I couldn't see a way out other than to leave the situation, despite the consequences to my family and my financial situation and all of those things. And Pops was a huge proponent in that, and just like, dude, you got to get the fuck out of there. And nothing should be making you don't have a decision to make. I'm telling you. you know? And I believed that deep down, but it was so fucking scary to take that step and to leave. And after I left, it didn't just go away like a magic bubble that was popped. I was fucked up, dude. And if you can believe it, it's been 6 months since
Have
I've
you
been at this
really?
job. 6 months I've been without work. Haven't even been looking for work. People are like, "You looking?" And I'm like, "No, honestly,
I'm
I
good.
don't give a fuck. I'm working on myself, dude."
And that's if I can stop you just really quickly, that's
Yeah.
so important too, because that is still one of the biggest deathbed regrets is I worked too hard at some shit that I didn't even like to do to buy a bunch of shit that I didn't even really, what's the point of it all in the end?
100%, dude. And I've like got to really look at capitalism and how ugly it is and how many things I was spending money on that I didn't need and how just it was a breath of fresh air, dude, to be rid of those things. All these things that I thought that I needed, that I thought made me happy, really don't. They're all the things that are making you like you can't breathe through it.
I'm telling you, I just had a guy come pick up like boxes of fucking action figures and shit. I was gonna put it all out at the garage sale, but I found this guy. I know what all of this shit is worth, right? It's worth a lot more than I tell this guy. And
Yeah.
he runs a toy store. He's a good guy, he's fine. Like there was nothing like shisty or anything crazy there. But I was like, hey man, if you give me $1,200 right now, you can come take it all, and I'll even throw in this couple little extra. And within like I think 3 or 4 hours, he was at my house with a fucking truck. We loaded all the shit up. He was like, fuck, took off, and that's gonna be hopefully good for him. Hopefully he'll be able to turn that shit around. But I can tell you, dude, watching this shit leave my life it's almost like physical weight, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's being lifted. And even today, I was wandering around. I had to go to the store and pick something up, and I was looking at some fucking toys and Legos here and there, but there's no desire, And I have my handful of shit, like right here in front of me. I've got the McDonald's fucking chip and Dale. All four of them are sitting right here, and then Annabelle brought in here JoJo, the fucking circus clown.
Ah!
But yeah, and I think for myself, a lot of that was just trying to buy a happy feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. That's what I was doing too.
Yeah. But the job stuff,
Um,
please continue with the job stuff.
yeah, and and the job I after a lot of reflection on it, it wasn't all just this one person that was making it miserable. I think the whole idea of it was that I've never been like a corporate person. I've never had a corporate job. This was my first office, my first place I had to dress nice, every day. And that was what was killing my soul more than anything is that I was not being true to myself.
Yeah.
And now I'm just now to a place where I feel really happy. I feel really light. I've been going to the gym and I fucking getting my body back together since I got diabetes. That was another thing I realized is that I just gave up on myself back then. So like I was like, if I want a fucking cheeseburger, I'm gonna eat one. I'm a fat ass already, so who gives a fuck? And I really getting that back, taking some of the weight off and having people be like, damn, dude, you're looking good. If I hold my driver's license picture up to my face and see how fat I was in that picture, it's really like jarring. So I've been grappling with all of those things, and I'm to a place where I've spent 6 months now getting myself back together, and I'm just in a place where I feel like I'm like up high enough on that slippery rock full of bird shit that I'm like I'm gonna make it. Like just my toes are still dipping in the water, but that shark can have my fucking toes.
Yeah.
uh, and then this opportunity came up to do the same exact job, but for a much different company, a much better organization, with different people. And I was forced to just look at this situation and be like, I was scared, dude. It's a great opportunity. And it's what I should do. All the things that are like my smart brain are like, yes, absolutely, you should take this opportunity. But there's all of this fear and anxiety that's coming up. And it's actually really strong to the point where I was like, shit, my brain's out last night just trying to go to sleep, you know? And I've got all these fucking anxiety again. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm better enough to tackle this right now, but it's a timeline. I don't have the ability to wait it out and see and wait for me to be in a place where I'm better. And will that ever happen? That's like,
And
We're gonna get
I
married
think what
when
you're saying though is a very common thing.
I think so. Yeah.
Often though, s- fear and excitement feel like the same thing
Yeah.
very often, and they do make us shit our pants.
Yeah. They both make me have to poop.
Yeah, they can both make us have to poop. Fortune telling, our futures. I was just chatting with my queen about this, that when we fortune tell our futures, I know myself up until, just rather recently in my entire life, tend to forecast negatively.
Hmm.
Instead of saying, this new opportunity, it could be awesome. It could be the gateway to my bigger dream. It could be this. We're like, oh, this could be fucking bad again. It's that protective survival brain being like, hey, bro, remember last time? Remember? Remember it was scary? But it could also be fucking awesome. And that's a
Right.
hard thing. And it is right. I think my therapist, when I first did therapy, she had me do some shit where you can like write it out on paper and take your thoughts to like court and shit like that. And like actually have a little tiny trial with your own thoughts, if you have like intrusive type of thinking and stuff like that that won't go away and makes it hard to sleep and do all of those things. But you're going to take this opportunity.
I haven't committed 100%, but I did. The lady sent me an email that said that like I'm not even supposed to tell you this, but we would like to move forward with you, but I want to know where you're at. And I was 100% honest with her. I was like, I was in a bad situation before. It was super toxic, and I'm not going to give names because it's kind of like it's a small town. People know each
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, I'm not going to tell you names or anything. You might know these people, but it was in a super toxic situation. And thank goodness I had someone else to champion for me and
yeah.
explain to this person how toxic it was without me saying it and making me look bad.
No, that's always that's always if it was a situation, and letting people know 100%, it can help. And most people are going through so much, like everybody is going through so much shit right now, dude. Our world is in fucking chaos.
Yeah, it's so scary.
I mean, that alone. So all of those fears that you're feeling, remember that everyone is sharing them with you.
Hmm.
And
That
I'm
somehow doesn't make it better, but I understand that. Yeah, everybody.
I'm trying to get more people to join my gang of being like the anti that, where you just be fucking nice all, like you figure out a way to give yourself up completely and then just be fucking nice all the time. And that's the way you fight that stuff. And you can genuinely be there for people that way. So you haven't, when do you have to commit by?
So right now we're moving into next steps, but apparently it's a process. This isn't just a job at Taco Bell. So there's
You'll always go through a couple interviews. I mean, anything corporate, you'll probably do, two or three, I would assume, with
I've
different.
I've already done two.
Oh, okay.
And so now it's like there's a psychological evaluation. God only knows if I'm going to pass that. There's a drug test. God only knows if I'm going to pass that. No, there's just like there's a couple more things now that are part of the hiring process that I have to go through, but I don't expect there to be any snags. And she did reiterate, she was like, until we're going to give you an offer, she was like, until you sign that offer, you're not 100% like committed.
Right, right. Yeah.
So
I mean, nowhere in the United States, I believe, is not like at will employment. You can always walk the fuck out at any point in time and be like, I'm not.
I'm one of those people though that feel super guilty because they've put their time and their energy and their money into bringing you on to an organization and then you just fucking split right afterwards. You're like, dude, you should have thought about it a little harder than that. Now, if it's a toxic situation, I'm gone. I know the things
Right,
to look
right,
for. But
right.
what I have to be super careful with is, like you said, I can't bring the toxic shit that is still in there, the fears that I have, and let that create a toxic environment in my new employment.
Right. Like you might, shelter yourself from super cool fucking people. You might
Right.
come in here and be like, just be like weary, like, and then they're gonna be like, yo, that he's fucking kind of doesn't talk to nobody and shit. I don't fucking know. He calls himself Duke Spooky. I don't, yeah, I don't know. It says he's friends with a ghost. I fucking,
His best friend's a ghost.
right. But, go into it and try to be the person that your genuine self. Be genuine, and most people, that's all they want, man. It's somebody to just be fucking honest. Be like, hey. And if it ever comes to that, though, the thing is, though, don't let your past define any of your current character or who people think you are. So you don't ever want to be the person who comes in, because if you type, I'm learning this a lot in my life, especially doing tattoos. If you talk shit about somebody to me, there's a real good chance you're talking shit about me to somebody else, or just talking shit in general. Like if you're talking shit, you're talking shit. Just be there. And
Don't talk shit. That's the worst, dude. Don't be that person. And I know it feels good in the minute, but then you
we've
feel
all
like shit.
been it though. Yeah, we've all
Yeah.
been it, but try to fight against it if you
Yeah,
can.
fight against
Because,
it, dude. Be
yeah,
the better person. And like you said, everybody wants to feel loved and feel respected. And we don't want to give that to other people. We pick a little handful of people we do give it to, and we don't want to give it to everybody else. But everybody, that fucking asshole that cut you off in traffic, he just needs a little bit of love, dude.
everybody, man. All you need is love.
Ba-ba-da-da-da.
All you need is love. Love. But yeah, it's so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's we'll follow your adventures into
I
the.
hope it's not a fucking another debacle for you to hear about.
See, but don't even, and if it is though, I feel you're in a much better position to, and you can't go looking for that shit either. Like, don't be like on the lookout, like, oh, who's fucked
That's what
me?
I'm trying to not do. Don't sabotage myself.
Right. Don't sabotage yourself. Just be there, show up, be a genuine dude. Like I've met one of the most genuine cats I've ever known. I met in the pharmaceutical industry, which is an industry that is not notorious for having the most genuine people in shit. And I saw a lot of it, and it was kind of crazy. There's a lot of great people in there though, but it was kind of crazy. Um, so yeah, just show up, man. Show up being your genuine self. And even if 99 people are like, yo, that fucking sucks. If you're genuine, somebody will eventually be like, I just see it. You can't deny genuine. It's really hard to fucking, somebody could be wearing the shittiest clothes with the most fucking dignity, and you can see it. Like you can see it in there, or somebody can be dressed like a fucking pimp and, look fucking so down. Like there's the way you carry you matters quite a bit. And I think it's the easiest to just be yourself.
And that's scary because I felt like I was myself at that last position and it was used against me. It was weaponized against me to be
There
myself.
are corporate is a much different world, and take the time to learn the lingo, listen to other people's jokes and shit. Make sure they're not like, oh, what is a dog like on his pizza? Pepperonis. And you're like, anybody from Nantucket? You know what I mean? Feel
That's
out
pretty much it. You just like nailed me in a story. Yeah, that's like my whole personality.
the whole when in Rome shit, man. Like act like a Roman when you're in Rome, but just don't let it change your actual character. But it's easy to just adapt your lingo. You can tell the same funny joke, and there'll be one person you'll find that'll drop a funny line somewhere, and then you'll have that little person. It'd be like, yo, we can say a little bit funnier shit to each other, whatever. But all right, next week. Next week we have Sinners.
Good one. Oh man, I'm excited to talk about this.
Yes, I'm so excited. I've been waiting, chomping at
Streaming
the bit
on
for this movie. So we will.
streaming on Max on the 4th.
Oh, okay. Streaming on Max on the 4th. I know I bought it
Tomorrow.
as soon as it hits. Oh, sick.
Yeah.
So everybody can check it out. Yes. Next week we will be talking about Ryan Coogler's Sinners, starring one of my personal favorite modern talents, Michael B. Jordan. One of my favorite eras of American history, the Delta Blues. As far as music goes, a terrible era in a lot of other ways, but as far as the music goes, a lot of cool shit came out of there. So if you got a chance, check it out. And until then, I have been Pops Ghostly.
I'm Duke Spooky.
No! No! No!
Extravaganza.